Morning everyone, it's Ian from DIY Home and Gardening. I thought I'd do a little different post today. So I've got quite a few trees in my garden. They're all good for small gardens as you would expect. So I thought I'd put together a bit of a video for you of my top 10 that I would suggest. Amongst those, again, no garden is all sun, all shade. So I'm going to try and include a few different ones for different positions for you, and that will give you seasonal interest as you go along. Again, you don't want flower all at the same time or to all be looking barren. So yeah, I'm going to compile that for you and see how you take to it. Here we have Amelanchier, alnifolia, Obelisk. Yet again a fabulous garden tree, very good for a small area, has this nice columnar habit to it. Will get 5 meters in height and about 2 meters wide, sometimes a little bit wider but generally quite narrow. As you can see, it's full of flower at the moment. In April it always flowers around this time of year. And then in the autumn time we'll have small black berries to it that the birds absolutely love. And the autumn foliage on it is a mixture of oranges and reds, a little bit of purple in there as well. But fabulous plant. Again, it's very tolerant of most positions. You can see growing here in clay soil of Essex, happy in a sun or shady position. Yeah, a fabulous plant, highly recommended. Here we have an absolutely amazing large shrub, small tree. It's Acer Atropurpureum. It's not any of the flashy varieties that you get, but has a most amazing foliage colour. We'll get about 5 meters in height, can actually get to 3 or 4 meters in width. You will probably notice that it's grown in a full sun position. Commonly told that they want to be in a shady position. That's more because most people don't know how to look after them, but if you provide plenty of water in the morning, then they're perfectly happy, especially in the ground, to be in a sunny position. Gardening in heavy clay soil, all I tend to do is just mix some peat in when I do planting and apply an additional layer of compost each spring. That tends to help, and it's perfectly happy. So yes, a fabulous plant for a small garden. And here we have this fairly new introduction, Betula pendula fastigiata Joes. As you can see, for where I've planted it, it's in the corner. It's very narrow plant or tree, only going to get to about 1 meter in width. Will get 5 meters high. Like all types of Betula or silver birch, it will produce a catkin as it develops. And yeah, there's some actually. So there we are. So it produces a small catkin to it, which adds a little bit of interest. And then in the winter time, you've got this fabulous bark to look at. So it will age and go a little bit creamy, but generally has quite a nice dark stem to it. But yeah, has fabulous form. So yeah, use it as either a tree, or you can use it in a border just to give you the odd punctuation of difference in texture. Once again, it's perfectly happy in all sorts of soils. Will do better with a little bit more moisture. It will tolerate being in a sunny or part shade, or even a full shade position. Doesn't want to sit saturated over the winter period though. Here we have the most amazing evergreen shrub, small tree. It's Mickelia, fairy white. We are at the end of April and this has been in flower for about the last 4 or 5 weeks now. It has an absolutely amazing sweet scent to it. Used to be classed as a magnolia, but has been changed back to become probably called Mickelia, as is a totally different group. Perfectly happy in a part shade position. I've got it growing in clay soil, so it will tolerate it. Again, just do a top dress each year with an ericaceous compost if you got it down, or about 3 times a year give it an acidic feed. It does tend to expel a lot of energy during flowering period. As you can see, it gets a slight yellowing of the foliage due to the amount of nutrients it's drawing out for flower production, so it's always a good idea to give it a feed whilst it's in flower. So yes, spread you're looking 1 to 2 meters, and height is around about 3.5 meters, but absolutely amazing shrub, small tree, and very easy to look after. So it's a great tree for a small garden. This is Sorbus, aucuparia, Autumn Spire. As you can see, it's just starting to bud up, so it will produce a nice white flower, followed by orangey red berries in the winter time, or autumn winter, and it has amazing orange red foliage through the autumn as well. Really good tree for the small garden, only getting about 4 meters in height and 1 meter in width. Quite happy to grow in all soils, including chalky soil, and is tolerant of a dry position as well. Here we are, Crataegus, fastigiata, Scarlet, hawthorn. So this variety is just starting to make its bud now, unlike the normal type, which is white flowering. Scarlet has a nice double red flower to it. I will put it in the small tree category because, generally speaking, in the UK it'll get to 4 to 6 meters. It will get to 3 or 4 meters wide as well, but it's quite easy to keep pruned. Has a good little black fruit form in the autumn time. Autumn colour's not particularly good, but makes a cracking spring flowering tree, and as you can see, it's perfectly adaptable in any type of soil and is good in sun or pot shade position. So this tree here is Salix erythrofluctuosa. It is a type of willow, but it's not as vigorous as sort of the standard weeping willows. As you can see, it has the most amazing stem coloration, which is apparent particularly when it hasn't got the leaf on, so the autumn through to winter. Height is about 5 meters, spread can get to 3 meters, but as with all Salix, they're quite happy to be hard pruned. The good thing with the Salix is that they are really great for growing in a wet, certainly moist conditions, with quite a heavy soil as well. So yeah, really useful plant. Also, if you want to do any propagation from it, then you can cut the stems off, stick them in a container, and they make a lovely backdrop to something like ground cover plants, or mix in some bulbs through that as well. But yeah, really good plant for a small garden. And here we have another fantastic tree, in my opinion, for a small garden. I had it in my previous house. It's called Cercis canadensis ruby falls. Always produces the flower on the bare stems in early season, so you're looking about March, April time, and then following the flower you then end up with the most vivid purple, almost heart-shaped leaf form into it. And as you can see, the stems really do cascade right the way down, almost touching to the ground. Yeah, height and spread is 2 meters. They do need to have a bit of a free draining soil to them. Do better in a sunny position to ensure that the foliage is as dark as it can be, but will actually tolerate an element of shade as well. But yeah, really nice, quite unusual tree for a small garden. So yeah, worth looking at. And here we have another tree that I had in my previous house. This is Prunus Hillieri spire, or sometimes just called Prunus spire. It has the most amazing sort of apple blossom coloured flower, which always forms in about April time. Has a nice goblet shaped formation to the tree as well, so adds a slight difference in architecture to the garden. We'll eventually get to about 5 meters in height. Can get to about 3 meters wide, but generally speaking they don't get more than about 2 meters width. That height is over 20 years, but as with all prunus, if you want to keep it trimmed, then you can do a summer prune to restrict the height. Quite happy in any soil, but won't like sitting wet over the winter period. So if you go and plant one, just incorporate some coarse grit at the same time. Happy in a sunny or part shade position. So I couldn't actually get a decent photo of my one because it was looking a bit spindly, to be honest. So I have acquired this one from an image I took at work. It is Alea Europa, so olive tree to most people. Fantastic tree, has come in for a bit of stick of late because of worries over Xylella, which is a bacterial infection, but that's mainly on the continent. But having said that, all our imported stock is nice and clean and has to have its own plant passport, so nothing to worry about there. So really good evergreen tree for small garden. Great in a sunny position, doesn't require a lot of maintenance. Despite people's perception that they need protection, they are perfectly hardy, will go down to -20 quite happily. Produce masses of white flower in early summer, followed by the fruit, which, to be honest, most of the time will only ripen suitable for birds to eat, not for human consumption, although 2016 we did have fruit ripen, so you could pick it off the tree. Heights can get up to 4 to 5 meters in the UK. Generally speaking, though, they won't get more than about 3 to 4 meters, but with olives, give them a hard prune back in June, July. They're perfectly happy for you to do that. Width about 2 meters. The good thing with olives is that you can pretty much prune them how you want. So if you want to keep them as a small ball type tree as a standard, that's fine, or bonsai them, or turn them into a cloud cut type tree, or just leave them natural. They're really versatile, excellent plant to have in the sunny position, and most of the time no bother. So hopefully you enjoyed my video. Please subscribe if you did. If you've got any questions, please feel free to send me some messages. I'll always answer them for you. And yes, until next time, see you soon.